The U.S. Navy has 11 aircraft carriers. In August 2024, the entire Pacific Ocean, 60 million square miles, had zero. Not because of budget cuts, not an attack, because you need 3 carriers to keep just 1 at sea. And right now, the Navy doesn't always have 3 to spare. Let me ask you something. When you hear the U.S. Navy has 11 aircraft carriers, what does that number actually mean to you? Go on, think about it for a second. I'd bet the answer is the same one most people give. 11 carriers, 11 options, 11 ships are ready to go wherever they're needed at a moment's notice. That assumption is so wrong, it's almost funny. And the gap between the number on paper and the number that actually exists would genuinely surprises many. Of those 11 carriers, not all can deploy at the same time. We'll talk about that more later, so make sure to watch on. And here's the number that should genuinely stop you cold. On paper, 11. In practice, you're counting on your fingers and running out quickly. To keep just 1 carrier continuously deployed, 1 ship in 1 region doing its job, the Navy needs a certain number in the rotation. What's the whole equation? Think of it like a 24-hour diner with a few cooks. 1 is on the line right now, sweating through the dinner rush. 1 just finished a double shift and is face down on a couch somewhere. 1 is at a mandatory food safety recertification course that the health department will absolutely not waive. You've got people on the payroll, but only 1 is actually serving food at any given moment. And if the recertification runs long, the guy on the line doesn't get to go home. He just keeps cooking. So here's what I kept wondering when I first looked into this. If the math is this tight, what happens when something goes wrong or falls behind schedule? The Navy calls it the OFRP, Optimized Fleet Response Plan. Every carrier moves through a fixed 36-month cycle, 3 years, 5 phases. Now, sit with that timeline for a second, because it's longer than most people would guess. Phase 1 is maintenance. After a deployment, a carrier goes into a maintenance period of roughly 7 months. Hull work, systems overhauls, nuclear reactor servicing. During this phase, the ship is completely unavailable, not on reduced readiness, not deployable in an emergency. Unavailable, full stop. Phases 2 and 3 are training, 14 months total. Crew certifications, air wing qualifications, strike group integration exercises that have to be earned, not assumed. And here's the part that surprises most people. The Navy will not waive these certifications regardless of how badly a carrier is needed somewhere. Doesn't matter what's happening in the world. If the training cycle isn't complete, the ship doesn't deploy. Period. It's like renewing your driver's license, except the test takes 14 months. Failing means you're legally not allowed on the road, and nobody in Washington can call in a favor to skip it. The paperwork exists for a reason. So does the training. Phase 4 is deployment, the standard 7 to 8 months at sea. Phase 5 is a sustainment buffer before the whole thing restarts. So run the numbers. 36 months per cycle, 7 to 8 months actually deployed. For every carrier at sea, 2 are somewhere in phases they cannot skip. That's not a policy choice. That's where the 3-to-1 ratio comes from. And here's what makes the whole system genuinely fragile. The OFRP only delivers one carrier continuously deployed if all three in the rotation stay on schedule. Maintenance that runs long doesn't just delay one ship, it compresses every phase behind it, like a traffic jam on the highway. The training window gets squeezed, the sustainment buffer shrinks, and the crew of the carrier already at sea, who thought they were coming home, gets told to keep going a little longer, then a little longer again. In May 2023, the USS Gerald R. Ford deployed from Naval Station Norfolk. Standard deployment, 7 to 8 months. The crew knew the timeline. Families had the calendar marked. Then, October 7th happened. Hamas attacked Israel. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin extended the Ford's deployment. The crew adjusted. Then a second extension. Then a third. The Ford finally returned home on January 17, 2024, 244 days after she left. 239 of those days spent underway at sea. Now, I want you to think about what 239 days actually feels like. Not as a statistic, as a life. What's happening in your world over 239 days? Because for the Ford's crew, a sailor who deployed in May expecting to be home by Christmas instead watched the holidays pass on a ship in the Mediterranean. A pregnancy announced over a pixelated video call from 5,000 miles away. A toddler who learned to walk while a parent was somewhere between the Strait of Hormuz and the coast of Israel. 3 times the crew was told, "Not yet." 3 times they stayed. The Ford's crew didn't complain publicly. That's not what sailors do. They deployed. They did the job. They came home. But 239 days across 3 extensions isn't a story about one unlucky deployment. It's what happens when the rotation behind a deployed carrier isn't ready, and the ship at sea has nowhere to hand off to. Think about it like a relay race, where the next runner isn't at the baton exchange point yet. The runner already going doesn't get to stop. They just keep running. Legs burning, lungs burning, waiting for someone to show up and take the baton. And every extra lap they run is a lap the next runner doesn't have to warm up properly before their leg starts. Because that's the real cost nobody talks about. Extended deployments don't just affect the crew at sea. When the Ford finally came home after 239 days, her maintenance window was already compressed. Her crew needed more recovery time than the schedule allowed. The next cycle started behind before it even began. One extension, paid back 3 times over. So what was breaking down? Why wasn't the rotation ready? The answer comes down to one ship that isn't in the water yet, and one ship that should have left it already. The USS John F. Kennedy, the second Ford-class carrier, the ship the Navy was counting on, had her delivery pushed from July 2025 to March 2027. Advanced weapons elevators, advanced arresting gear certification, nearly 2 years late. And here's what that actually means. USS Nimitz was supposed to retire in 2026. Kennedy won't show up until 2027. For about a year, the United States Navy drops from 11 carriers to 10. That gap? That's not a scheduling problem. That's a readiness problem. Navy's oldest aircraft carrier, commissioned in 1975, older than most of the sailors serving on her, the Navy extended her service life to March 2027. A 50-year-old ship kept running because the Kennedy isn't ready, and the math doesn't work without her. It's like keeping your 1975 pickup truck on the road because the brand new one you ordered is still sitting at the factory with parts on backorder. Except the truck is a nuclear-powered warship, and the parts are a $13 billion replacement that's 2 years late. And when those two timelines overlapped, you got something the Navy almost never allows to happen. The USS Abraham Lincoln was pulled toward the Middle East. The USS Ronald Reagan wrapped up its long deployment in Japan, 9 years forward-based, and headed out. But its replacement wasn't there yet, and for a brief window that summer, there was no U.S. carrier operating in the Western Pacific. Not globally absent, but missing from the one region where it's almost always present. It's the kind of gap that doesn't happen often. Analysts didn't really sugarcoat it. A gap like that doesn't go unnoticed, especially when it comes to deterring China in the Indo-Pacific, where carrier presence carries the most weight. Now, the Navy didn't frame it as a gap. From their perspective, forces are always shifting, always positioned globally. But at the same time, satellites don't read press releases. Which brings us to where a readiness issue starts becoming something bigger. That kind of gap doesn't slip by quietly, especially not by China, which tracks U.S. carrier movements as closely as anyone. Earlier in 2024, a Chinese satellite, Ku Taijing 403, went up. Radar imaging, sub-meter resolution, able to see through clouds, at night, the kind of system built to find things that don't want to be found. And a few months later, images from that satellite started showing up online. Naval Station Norfolk, multiple U.S. carriers, escorts, support ships, all visible, all precisely located. And here's the part that stands out. They didn't treat it like classified intelligence. They posted it like a product demo. Here's what we can see. Here's where your carriers are. Have a nice day. But tracking carriers isn't just about spotting them in port. Researchers at PLA Navy Dalian Naval Academy have explored ways to read the ocean itself, using satellite imagery to analyze the wake patterns ships leave behind. Because even when you can't clearly see the carrier, the water can still tell you something. Speed, direction, movement. Not a perfect fingerprint, but enough to narrow things down. So when that gap opened in 2024, the satellites weren't just looking for carriers. In a way, they were confirming the absence of them. And that absence sends its own signal. A carrier shows up, and everyone adjusts around it. When it doesn't, that adjustment happens in reverse. It's not just where carriers are, it's where they aren't, how long they're gone, and whether that gap feels temporary or something more structural. And for a moment that summer, what showed up wasn't just a routine shift. It was a stretched rotation, ships tied up in maintenance, others covering more ground than usual, and a Pacific that looked a little emptier than it normally does. You don't need a spy in the Pentagon to notice that. Just a satellite and a calendar. Those carriers China is tracking run on nuclear power. Watch the video on screen now about why carriers use exactly 2 reactors, not 1, not 3. 11 carriers on paper. 3 to keep 1 deployed. And in August 2024, the Pacific had none. A sailor spent 270 days at sea because the rotation broke. A 50-year-old ship is still running because her replacement is 2 years late. And a Chinese satellite posted photos of 3 carriers at Norfolk on social media like it was nothing. Because to them, it was nothing. They just needed a satellite and a calendar. What surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to read them. And we'll see you in the next one.